The Israeli have mastered that principle. Let me not use Israeli. The Jews, as a race, has mastered that principle for a long time. So the principle is to copy the success of the Jews. Wherefore, the Benins must revolve their wealth around themselves and learn to grow around themselves. Orion, bring one of your brightest son or daughter who has excelled in business or in the financial world. Politics bring one representative. So each of the 7 local governments will bring one representative to represent these local governments. So these 7 people will not constitute a board. We know that these 7 people are one of the brightest in the land, and they are coming from a background that allows them to plan for the nation in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Because it's a long-term goal. Now, these people, these 7 people, will now sit down and look at the resources, monitor the resources that are coming, and now begin to create policy, financial policy, on how to make use of these funds to grow us economically as a people. When we are looking at the economic benefits, we now begin to look at, let us set up manufacturing companies. Let us set up industries. What would these industries be? These industries are going to be absorbing, employing 80% of the staffs are going to be Benin people, So in a way that our children go to the university, to the polytechnic, to college of education, college of agriculture, school there is already a job waiting for them. Outside that, we also now ensure that this money will be geared to ensure that Awema ni teo ni ye school, ni area ni go ya school. We're creating a society where no single Benin person born will not be able to afford education. So scholarship will be given to all indigent Benin sons and daughters. They are doing archaeological excavation. This is the second archaeological excavation that is being carried out on Benin soil. The first archaeological excavation, you guys know, it was Graham Corner. So always the first archaeological excavation. Since that time, there's not been any archaeological excavation. The current excavation here, the British were along with Yorubas. Just in case you don't know. So anything that they are going to discover now, because Benins are not taking chances in going to read archaeology. Very important to us who are culturally and traditionally poised. Some of us who are very interested in history. So Benins will start picking interest in sending their children to go and read history and archaeology. And to read archaeology, you hardly will get good universities in Africa that studies archaeology. So that means we'll have to be sending tons and scores of Benins to go study archaeology as a course overseas. How do we get the funds? This Benin Trust Fund takes care of such essentiality that will require us for us to know even our history, the history buried underneath. Oyanoriyedo, no. Let anybody, any other person that tells you, any other person that tells you anything is wrong, Noriedo. Should I tell you why? They told you every politician could not be calling our people and paying data for them 90,000. Supporting from day 1 to day 30 for 365 days. If we are doing agman supporting politicians. We'll be doing annually is a program what we call Benin Investors Conference. The Benin Investors Conference is laden with quite a lot of things. Things like if you have an idea of a business you want to do, There will be a platform where you send your business proposal to. Benins will be allowed to send different business proposal to a particular side of the website. Everybody, the website is BIC. All of these things were created 2 years ago. It's called bic.ng. That's the website. All right. If you go through the website, there are parts of the website where we call submits. So in that submit, you have an idea. You submit your business idea on that platform. There'll be a board. We're going to create a board that looks at the viability of your business idea. So maybe at the end of the day, before we do the program, sometime in December this year, maybe the best 5 or the best 10 ideas will now have a pitch section, a section where they are going to be investors. We're going to be having people who has the money, but now this is a Benin. It's a 100% Benin program. No other tribe comes in. It's a Benin first ideology. It's anchored on the Benin first ideology. It is Benin for Benin for Benin. Democracy at Benicracy. And it's last week. The Japanese are so disciplined that it's because of the discipline. Japanese is one of the cleanest cities in the world. I mean, cool.
Only they went to World Cup. After the World Cup, the Japanese stay back and start
the stadium. It's their culture. You understand? We don't want to clean it to be cleaning because that's how they have bridled, they have been molded with that self-discipline right from childhood. So I see no reasons why we cannot start inculcating this thing into our lifestyle as a people, that once you have this secondary school, before you enter the university, there should be a Benin school of mentorship where Benin kids, every household is advised to send their children to the school so that in a way that again, higher institution, they will know what it takes to be a Benin man. You know, you know, na mana weirdo ni boom, you know, you know, or see your social media. Yes. In short, you cannot give what you don't have. How I was trained is the palace is a sacred institution and must be protected. That's the same thing I'm doing because that's how I was trained. Movie now who I don't know what 2 camera. Budget 3 million. You don't make money. How do I tell you? No. We have movies that can even contest for Oscars award. A story of Mari and Benata or a story of Yoba. Put that movie, invest so much money on that movie. Have Benin having a Benin film village where these movies are shot. You pay to come and shoot this movie. There will be a committee of councils that take care of the Benin Film Village. So we're going to visually ask. The conference is also talk about the ideas that a lot of investors, like I said, is not the conference will be Iriado and Iriado no Yonghuen that you and I don't know. Do you understand? There are so many Benin people. Most Benin people who are wedding Iriado. So the conference is an avenue to bring them to say the idea now. This idea is a multi-million spinning venture. Instead of you giving it to one Yoruba person to go and produce movie, they produce a movie because the industry, we are setting up the industry, we are putting out pieces of those who are progressive minded will come. See, with this unity and peace is when. Do you know how many progressive minded Benin people that called me that said, "Anything I may go, yeah, I'm more adetana." Oh, but so we grew up understanding that the only ways who go, I must know wow, so that's how I grew up. So that's the same thing that I feel that we can invigorate. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've said quite a lot. Benin Investors Conference is going to be revolutionary. It will change the economic course, the financial course of the Edo people. We don't have to rely on the state government like I have always believed. No governor can rescue the Benin people. It is only the Benin people that can rescue the Benin race. So why are we say?
Thanks for clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified.
So that we can basically tell them what we have and what we intend to achieve. Almost everybody here has played a very significant role in terms of propagating the Benin history and culture. That has been the level that we have operated on as a people for some time now. While I be an avion, near the what down or down, why good? This, those people are not serious. So why go? People take observations of a lot of these things. When you want to talk about almost all of these, why an area except no year ready, but it's also very essential. I'm a pro Benin. Benin first ideology is what drives me. But why he's here is because he's very exceptional. The entire framework of the idea, he was the one who came up with the entire framework. So at every step of the way, as we're progressing, it will always be part. It will be the only non-Benin that will be part of the team for those who want to be part of the team. So for the very first time, we're going to be talking a bit out of our usual terrain, which is discussing history, discussing cultural activities. Now, for the very first time, we're going to be talking about the socio-economic prospect of the Benin race. It is important that we discuss this because a race or an ethnic nation or an ethnic group who does not have an economic future cannot be in the midst of other ethnic groups who are currently deciding in all facets of life, be it political, cultural, or whatever perspective you're going to look at it from. You will not be able to be part of those big guys when you don't have a visible outline for a prosperous and a strong economic future of an ethnic group. So the Benin race is currently lacking in that aspect. We do not have this collaborative idea to have a common purse or something that brings us together for us to look at how we could enable ourselves to grow economically. So we don't have that platform. We've never had a thought to discuss that kind of issues. There are so many things there are so many ideas that each and every one of us have that could contribute to the growth of the Benin Kingdom. But according so what we have had over these years is some very wealthy Benin people for a good view. Sorry. So what we have had for a long time is that some certain individuals have money, but this money is not be able to translate into the growth of the Benin people. This money cannot translate into the growth of the Benin people because so I have devised a means. This idea has been on for about 2 years, but I have procrastinated for a long time. But I'm a different man now in the year 2026 because I have seen the path the Benin people are going. If we don't start to recalibrate our minds and have an idea that can shaping the destiny of each and every one of us, we will still be running around cycles for a very long time. So I also figured out that there is no other way for the Benins to be stronger if we don't have a strong financial pulse. So instead, I proposed a very formal gathering of the most successful individuals in their respective entrepreneurial fields to assemble once in a year. During this assemblage, we will now look at things that we are going to discuss, the ideas, the ancient ideas that we have as a people, and how we can showcase these ancient ideas and how we can use these ancient ideas to be a money spinning endeavor. Because everything is boiled down to let us collaborate and make money together, either through partnership or through the commonality of our purses. I will break it down. I proposed a Benin Investors Conference, a conference where every year we will bring together every Benin man that are doing very well in their respective fields for years to bring their expertise to a forum where if you have a business idea and I don't have, my idea is not as good as you are, but I have the money. You can bring your idea, exchange your idea. I bring my money. I use my money to grow your idea. You become rich. I become richer. A simple case, which I have always used an ethnic group as an example, the Israeli. The Israeli have mastered that principle. Let me not use Israeli. The Jews, as a race, has mastered that principle for a long time. So the principle is to copy the success of the Jews. Wherefore, the Benins must revolve their wealth around themselves and learn to grow around themselves. A few days ago, I invited about 2 or 3 of my friends, and I was scolding them. Why was I scolding them? I would expect that they should take advantage of some things that I know in terms of business. Friendship is not about sitting down, drinking beer. That's not what I consider as friendship. Friendship is about we all growing together. If I'm doing well and my very close friend is not doing well, and our people as faithful always understood this principle. So I know Benins have been scared all this while that, okay, what if I go show my friend, what if I go show my brother how to make money, and that my brother now can't go close the way to make money? Oh, I don't think that happens, or that happens very frequently. Look at the Igbos. After the Civil War, the Igbos realized that the only way, the only way they can meet up was to create an entrepreneurial idea. Wherefore, if there is any big man in a society, or Jowa, or the Riotion, or the Oyewe, or the Mine Wenani, only a Gwene, only the Ariowa, or the Riotion, or the CIA, or anybody from the village, or the Mine Wenani. That is why they have repeated that skill for a period of 30 to 40 years. And you have seen how their success rate has been. So it is the same idea, but I am looking at it from a different perspective, where if we sit down, we have to discuss what is our short-term goal as an ethnic group, socio-economically. What is our long-term goal as an ethnic group, socio-economically? Then we'll now begin to plot our chart that in the next 10 years, what will be the future of this land? In the next 20 years, what will be the future of this land? These are how nations are born. A nation who does not plan ahead does not eventually grow as a nation. I've always believed that the salvation, the Magwalo, is not a governor. No Benin governor will be able to fix Benin problem. No Benin governor. If you're expecting that, well, it will be an added advantage. But however, only Benin people will be the one to fix Benin problem. And I'm bringing young chaps like all of us seated here, excluding Ejema, so to come together. So let's start to discuss. Let us start to have these ideas where we can exchange ideas and now see how we can grow Benin Kingdom. We have plotted charts, we have plotted incredible ideas that we intend to follow. So like I was saying, we are proposing a Benin Investors Conference where people come together and we discuss. Things that we're going to be discussing is things like the Benin Film Enterprise. Now, God has blessed us with an incredible history. When I shared this idea with some set of people who came from UK a few days ago, of their experiences with one of those big film producers, that not that we don't have good stories, but people are not investing so much into Benin stories. So God has blessed us with an incredible history. Any issue? Huh? The same person won't come out. Oh, we're driving. Oh, we have to work. Okay, come on. So, anyway, I tell about the Benin Film Enterprise will be one of the ideas that we're going to be discussing in course of the Benin Investors Conference, where we have to pitch tent between incredible storytelling and how we can put this movie into playable mode where people all over the world can actually see. I give an example. The Yoruba have been able to perfect the moving industry, that they produce incredible ideas that is not playable in cinemas and in Netflix. Whereas Maniwedo, we have more incredible storylines than the Yorubas. Only that we don't shoot this kind of movies with 20 million. Some of these movies cost as much as 200 million and 300 million. We need an avenue where people could bring good movie, good storylines, and there will be Benin people out there who will bring resources to produce these movies. While we are showcasing our history to the world, people are making money. So one of the ideas we are proposing for the Benin Investors Conference is a Benin Film Enterprise, and quite a whole lot of film. But the most incredible, Domo. So, but Noyo Gate is, I bet bring me water. Noyo Gate, anybody wants water? Many have you married. So Noyo Gate is the Benin Trust Fund. I've said this a couple of times. The Benin Investor Conference is just a conference where we bring all types of Benin people together and we discuss on our socio-economic freedom for the future. But during that conference, outside several other things that we're going to talk about, there is one idea that stands taller which we intend to launch that very day. We call it the Benin Trust Fund. The Benin Trust Fund is a revolutionary idea that is going to set the Benin nation on a path of greatness. It requires very minimal sacrifices for all of us as a people. And those minimal sacrifices, the aggregate of it is what is going to propel us to greatness. So for some of us who have not been briefed about the Benin Trust Fund, the Benin Trust Fund is a common purse where every Benin man is expected to put little money daily, weekly, or monthly. The aggregation, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Nobody wants water. Uh-huh. Give them water. So the aggregation of that funds is what is going to give us a leeway to an economic freedom and economic stardom. What do I mean by economic freedom? I actually got that idea from Piggy Fest. When one day, I safe. 1 naira, 10 naira, 20 naira. Yeah, yo. When January I'm bias one. He's not a big boy. In short, your higher sponsor a bill. Only 41,000 a year. Oh, yeah, I be safe. You understand? So, the December now, then your mind one day, he's supposed to be too big. Okay. Yeah. You see, it's incredible. Which, yeah, a piggy vest. This calories. To the date you are feast. Now, the idea is this is at an individual level. Why can't we have it as an ethnic ideology? Where when some of these ideas are grown as a generational idea, an idea that I always savings here, or my VA, then I always savings here. So when you are saving, your child who probably knows how to you go operate a smartphone can also now learn how to save. Over the time, it becomes an ethnic ideology. What I am proposing is the Benin Trust Fund has been developed as an application, as a web application, as a phone application, iOS and Android. So you can save it as an app, you can install it as an app, or you can go directly to the website. Now, what I'm asking the Benin people is, during the conference, this will be introduced to every Benin man and woman all over the world. That the Benin Trust Fund will now be a common purse where Benin people, old, young, and teenagers can save their money not for individual usage or for individual purposes, but for an ethnic purpose, for an ethnic use. During the formulation of the idea, when I said a minimum of 50 naira and a maximum of 500 naira or 200 naira, 500 naira or 200 naira, but maximum of 500 naira. Every day, You install the application on your phone. You connect your bank account to the application. Then you now subscribe in a way that I usually will advise people 15 naira or 100 naira say so that is why we also believe that 500 naira should be the maximum, so that F1 will ball. Now, the money is small. 100 naira is small. But that is not what we are fighting for. We are fighting for the cumulative effect of the 100 naira. And what that 100 naira will do for us in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, or in the next 20 years. So it's practicality. If Benin people, under this Benin Trust Fund, we already have everything figured out, pays 100 naira daily times, let's say 100,000 of us, or a 100 naira yaza every day. You multiply 100 naira times 100,000, right? That gives you 10 million daily. Then 10 million of 10 million, I say, yeah, no problem. You multiply it times 7. Yeah, use a 7. You multiply it times 7. In 1 week, 100,000 Benin people paying 100 naira into a purse for 1 week. It will give us 70 million. Okay, 70 million of a polo. But let's now look at what it will give us in 1 year. Yeah, use a 1 year. Let's use 1 month times 4.
Yes.
Abi?
Yes.
So in 1 month, we'll get 280 million for 100 naira
100,000.
paid by 100,000 Benin people. In 1 month, we get 280 million. Now, let's not see what it will give us in 1 year. All right, times 12 is very. It will give us 3.36 billion.
Yes.
All right? 3.36 billion. You can continue to envisage. What if it's 150,000 Benin people paying that same 100 naira? Or what if it's 200,000 Benin people paying that 100 naira? You know, some are going to pay 200, some are going to pay 500. Now, and don't forget that the Benin population is over 2 million. We are not going for the entire population, but we can get as much as 200,000. Let's say that 100,000. Now, an approximate of about 3.5 billion will be realized annually. But what is the money? What are we going to use the money for? Look at it. How many local government makes up Benin Kingdom? 7. Okay. Now we now have a common purse that everybody is putting money. Okay. Orion, bring one of your brightest son or daughter who has excelled in business or in the financial world. Politics I had one. Bring one representative. So each of the 7 local governments will bring one representative to represent these local governments. So these 7 people will not constitute a board. We know that these 7 people are one of the brightest in the land, and they are coming from a background that allows them to plan for the nation in the next 10, 20, 30 years. Because it's a long-term goal. Now, these people, these 7 people, will now sit down and look at the resources, monitor the resources that are coming, and now begin to create policy, financial policy, on how to make use of these funds to grow us economically as a people. When we are looking at the economic benefits, we now begin to look at Let us set up manufacturing companies. Let us set up industries. What would these industries be? These industries are going to be absorbing, employing 80% of its staffs are going to be Benin people, Iwedo. So in a way that our children go to the university, to the polytechnic, to college of education, college of agriculture, school there is already a job waiting for them. Outside that, we also now ensure that this money will be geared to ensure that Arema ni teo ni ye school ni area ni goya school. We're creating a society where no single Benin person born will not be able to afford education. So scholarship will be given to all indigent Benin sons and daughters. All right. Then those who have gone to the university, who came out intelligently, will be sponsored as a scholarship to go to the best universities in the world to further their education. Not no. The moment you've graduated, you bring what you have learned back home to grow the Benin economy. In the next 10 years, that is Vision 2036, we will have a very stable ethnic group, irrespective of who becomes governor of Edo State. Really do not concern us, because from there we'll be able to have agricultural industry that produces food, and some of this food are being subsidized for the indigents of Edo land, while major parts of it are being exported and being sold. What is everything that is accrued is spent back into the Benin society. So by so doing, with our 100 naira that we and I are paying every day, we're able to create an economic pathway, an economic greatness for the future of Edo land. So my proposition has always been that, aside what I have talked about, Niburo Nodima Borion, that we're unable to do because we do not have finances to push it. All of those crises concerning crisis requires a lot of money. All right. They are doing archaeological excavation. You know, this is the second archaeological excavation that is being carried out on Benin soil. The first archaeological excavation, you guys know, it was Grand Corner. So always the first archaeological excavation. Since that time, there's not been any archaeological excavation. The current excavation here now, the British were along with Yorubas. Just in case you don't know. So anything that they are going to discover now, because Benins are not taking chances in going to read archaeology. Very important to us who are culturally and traditionally poised. Some of us who are very interested in history. So Benins will start picking interest in sending their children to go and read history and archaeology. And to read archaeology, you hardly will get good universities in Africa that studies archaeology. So that means we'll have to be sending tons and scores of Benins to go study archaeology as a course overseas. How do we get the funds? This Benin Trust Fund takes care of such essentiality that will require us for us to know even our history, the history buried underneath. And a lot more. Most of the problems that we have as an ethnic group can only be solved if we have a collective force that takes care of it. Let anybody, any other person that tells you, any other person that tells you anything is wrong, should I tell you why? They told you every politician could not be calling our people and paying data for them 90,000 yeah, supporting from day 1 to day 30 for 365 days. If you are doing agmen support a politician. So we have to give financial freedom to our people. It's only Benin Trust Fund that can achieve it. But the Benin Trust Fund must be based on our sacrifices. So I don't want that sacrifices to be big. And that is why we are saying you could pay 15 naira, you could pay 100 naira, you could pay 200 naira, then the maximum is 500 naira. A lot of you can want to argue that some people can afford to pay 10,000 naira. Do you know how social class is created? Disparity of resources or create a social class. I'll give you an example. If I have 100 million in my account, I'm already a big man. If you have 100,000 in your account, you cannot be in the social class with me because you have more money than me. My doings alone should be able to tell you. In short, your 100,000 naira could be able to afford a 5,000 naira hotel room. My 100 million will be able to afford a room in Radisson Blue or Transport Hilton. So class has already been created. And those guys who are building Transport Hilton, they are not building Transport Hilton for you. They are building Transport Hilton for me that has 100 million in my account. Resources create classes. We don't want this to create a class between Benins. So that's why I said, one was a 15 naira, one was a 500 naira, it's almost the same. A class, a river. So that's why on no account should anybody pay more than that amount, because we want, when in the convergence on how, when we are not discussing on how, what can and can our resources should be used for, we want a situation where every Benin man must have almost equal stake on how their funds is being used, executed, and being used to carry out all of these functionalities. So that is why we discover that the only way is to ensure that the gap of payment is not big. If a senator is paying 500 naira daily, and I Izoduwa, who is a farmer, is paying daily 50 naira, almost equal stake my environment. A 450 naira, so that's the brain behind it. And again, we also do not want a situation where some persons, when you tell them that this is what we are doing, oh no, I can be paying 10,000 every day. Get paid 1 week, get paid 1 month, he gets tired of it. But your 15 naira, you don't get tired of it, because that's about the same amount that when you do a transfer, banks take from you, and you don't get to cry. So now you connect the app to your phone, and a day awagbe 15 naira leaves and goes to the main purse. The purse is still your money, but it's just your money that you are investing of the people. Who becomes beneficiary? Our children. Not necessarily us. Maybe when the money becomes very big, it could be 30 years from now. Only God can determine my Aragmo in 30 years' time. So who becomes the direct beneficiary? But as we are growing on, we are teaching our children. That's the most important thing. We must teach our children that the moment save 41K. So if you can save 41K monthly, you can afford 50 naira daily. So what am I? Even if we save, we are dropping 15 naira. Okay, future when 50 times 365. Imagine you earn 41,000 and you save 18,250 naira or you in a year. And Daniel for his own future. So we must teach our kids the needs where for them to key into this idea as time progresses. But like I have said, what we will be doing annually is a program what we call Benin Investors Conference. The Benin Investors Conference is laden with quite a lot of things. Things like, if you have an idea of a business you want to do, there will be a platform where you send your business proposal to. Benins will be allowed to send different business proposal to a particular side of the website. Everybody, the website is BIC. All of these things were created 2 years ago. It's called bic.ng. That's the website. All right. If you go through the website, there are parts of the website where we call submits. So in that submit, you have an idea. You submit your business idea on that platform. There'll be a board. We're going to create a board that looks at the viability of your business idea. So maybe at the end of the day, before we do the program, sometime in December this year, maybe the best 5 or the best 10 ideas will now have a pitch section, a section where total, they are going to be investors. We're going to be having people who has the money, but now this is a Benin, it's 100% Benin program. No other tribe comes in. It's a Benin first ideology. It's anchored on the Benin first ideology. It is Benin for Benin for Benin. Democracy actually, Benicracy. So the government for Benin and only for Benin. Only Beninocracy. So that's the idea. So I have an idea. I have like on my mind me good one here. I was on my mind that I'm trying to reach. You get doing that are quite very wealthy. So one of them was actually telling me that he's looking for an idea to invest in. These are guys who has money. They have lived the better part of their life in Abuja, but some of them want to invest home. As an investor, the first thing they look out for is the plausibility of your idea. Will it be viable? Will it be good enough for them to invest? And they are just looking for young guys who has that idea. You know, ideas do not really come cheap. There are people who has ideas, but they don't have money. Now, the conference will now bring those who have the money and those who have the idea. So you bring your idea, let me sponsor it. You make money because your idea cannot give you money if it is not sponsored. Idea cannot make idea was one generative. It has to go through stages. And one of the most integral parts that makes an idea realizable is funding. So now you have the idea, you know how to make it work, but later you don't have the money to make it work. So a section there was going to be a pitch section for business where people who has an idea will bring their idea, where people who have money will bring money. So if I'm an investor and you have an idea, I'm interested in agriculture, and there's an idea that has to do with agriculture, it interests me, and I ask how much does it take for funding, and you said that 20 million, and I have 20 million, I fund you, then we have legal agreements on how profit and partnership and all of that can be reached. So I bring the money, you bring. So it is the Benin Investors Conference that such opportunities are going to be, we are going to create such opportunities for young business ideas to grow. Then outside that Benin Investors Conference, that's also when we're also going to be showcasing things like awards. I think one of the problems we have had as a people is that if you're doing Buwaro that are really doing incredibly very well. In short, the profile of Roma, we know there, because what I want to do with this year, because of this program, is to be promoting young Benin guys. So I saw it in one of my past profile, we know there. One Dr. Sayenhoy Ogbede, Cambridge researcher, awarded prestigious Royal Society Career Development Fellowship. He's a young guy, he's a very young guy. Cambridge is one of the best universities in the world, so the guy was given a royal award and all of that. So these are the people that the Benin Investors Conference intends to harvest, bring their wealth of experiences to serve as a mentorship. We're also going to create a mentorship platform. A mentorship platform is that, you know, I've always talked about there's a mentorship gap. So part of what we are also looking at that will be one of the highlights of the Benin Investors Conference is what I call Benin, what did I call it? Benin School of Mentorship. Well, I'm in Lagos School of Business. So, but we have our own type. It's not just going to be about business. It's also going to be what? What? Benin School of BXN, right? We call it Benin School of Mentorship. So, where during that conference, we'll also solicit funds where people can draw up curriculum so that young Benin, Akela University or after universities, are being trained and being mentored in most especially on how to make money. That's where I'm coming from, how to make money. And how to, not just how to make money, it would also see things like the traditions, the history, the culture of our land. So that if before Benin young guys, immediately a Benin man leaves secondary school or came admission into the higher institution, that space, Noyaro 1, if it's 6 months class, is enrolled into that mentorship school. It's been taught even now what is expected as a Benin man. So we are molding. You understand? One of the most disciplined. In short, I was reading something about the Japanese last week. The Japanese are so disciplined that it's because of the discipline. Japanese is one of the cleanest cities in the world. I mean, cool.
When they went to World Cup, after the World Cup, the Japanese stay back and start
And
in the
pick.
stadium.
It's their culture. You understand? We no want to clean it, to be cleaning because that's how they have bridled, they have been molded with that self-discipline right from childhood. So I see no reasons why we cannot start inculcating this thing into our lifestyle as a people, that once you have left secondary school, before you enter the university, there should be a Benin school of mentorship where Benin kids, every household is advised to send their children to the school so that adwa modia in a way that again higher institution, they will know what it takes to be a Benin man. You know heke no weirdo, you know heke no na mana na weirdo ni boom, you know heke ni awu, you know seke ni ata, or see me your social media. Yes. In short, you cannot give what you don't have. How I was trained is the palace is a sacred institution and must be protected. That's the same thing I'm doing because that's how I was trained. The mind doesn't understand. Anybody trained contrary would do the same, would do what they are currently doing. All right. So I feel that there have always been a mentorship lacuna in the Benin society, and we could use the Benin Investors Conference as an avenue for we to set up these Benin to set up a Benin school of mentorship and probably mentorship and entrepreneur, where Benins are being trained on how to make money and the code of conduct and how to behave and what to do and all of that. Something that molds and shapes their character before, because I'm envisaging that while other people are doing gay, lesbian, we could actually forge a society where we don't know we're baby nanny. But it is consciously done. I invest in your. It has to be, we now say that this is, in spite of the troubling amount of civilization that is contrary to who we are as a Benin, we have to start consciously training our kids what we want them to be in the future. So we have to set up a school where our kids are trained and taught characters, self-discipline, how to make money, very important, very important. Kids should be taught how to start making money even from age 5. On how you can save and how you can invest. Will be very exorbitant. And he has a Ebony will be very exorbitant when he or she grows up, because I'm on how if Oriezomo Kakadu is already saving at his age, I'm sure that in the next 10 years he should have understood the principle of saving, and not just him. What I want to advise him now, not him just teaching how to save, he should also start teaching the basic principle of economics. That you save and invest. That money saved, not invested, loses value. You cannot save, no aya adibata no agba. Because they are kids. In the 50s. The difference between savings and investment. I've seen some kids in America. There's a man you follow with TikTok. He trains his child the difference between savings, investment, interest, capital, and all of that. He trains them, giving that child practicality. I think the child is about 5 or 6 years. Or mine, how to command money. So this is a principle that we must not imbibe and pass to our generations. Before you know, we'll not be having a generations of Benin people who understand money, who understand wealth. It's just like if an Igbo man is born today, they start to understand, almost immediately start to understand Ayadwek here. This principle of Ayadwek here did not start 100 years ago. Only started after the Civil War. And see what a generation who has kept to a particular principle for 30, 40 years has turned out to be. Now they now believe that because they have a target line, they have an idea, they pursued it and saw it come true. And it's not part and parcel of who they are. I'm not saying that they also do not engage in dubious means. When they were shedding that principle, only that there's morality in making money. You understand? So the principle was you have to go out there and make money. But that there's a morality. Ego, Yahoo, on ego. So that is why you see that their growing up is always about money. It now became a society that also worship money. Because while teaching them how to make money, they didn't also teach them the morality of making money, that you can make money rightly and make money wrongly. So they now feel that making money is about the only thing that is important in life. So, but while we are training, while we are aspiring to train our future generations on how to start making money, we must also guide them. Eri meta mi me. Una ya fio boy amenororo ya kwingo elamogwa. So that means I grew up knowing fully well that the only possible way I could make money has to be legally. Whether time me pull 1 million for this business, 1 week later I go turn to 15 million. That is why I don't do bets, Niger. That's why I don't do. I'm not saying it's wrong, but many why I scolding me while I was growing up. So all these things now become more of like a sin. Anything that duplicates money. So I now believe that the only way I can make money is I have to work hard for it. That's about the only principle I believe. So where you go in there's a possibility in me way. Maybe I will your kid. That's how I grew up. You cannot blame me. You might just understand. So that's why it's impossible. Any of us, my way Yahoo. It's impossible because as our father what they told us. Oh, I'm going to go down like when you pay where your mother. So we grew up understanding that the only ways who are we go, I must know wow, one amigo. So that's how I grew up. So that's the same thing that I feel that we can invigorate. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've said quite a lot. Benin Investors Conference is going to be revolutionary. It will change the economic course, the financial course of the Edo people. We don't have to rely on the state government like I have always believed. No governor can rescue the Benin people. It is only the Benin people that can rescue the Benin race. So why I was say, Oba talk about it. So if there are questions, observations, because what we're doing now is just a media interactions with the hope that afterwards we should start talking about it. It should be the next thing as Benin people we are supposed to start talking about of the conference, of people to key in. We have to give it the push, the publicity. Eole saga. You understand? So, and again, while we are talking about history, we should also be talking about economy. Because in Mamana as a people, we cannot push our history. I'm talking about an archaeological excavation currently being done at British Review, but I saw the list. I sent the argument and Professor Ila we're in trouble. No single Benin man there. And you are digging our palace ground. Where palace in here? You are digging our palace ground, excavating our rich history. No single Benin representative. So that means you can manipulate it. So what professor told me that the only way out is that we have to find a way to be sending our children to go and be studying archaeology. The Benin lecturer, the University of Benin. If you're doing here, is a Benin man. Aropa. So any other?
Yes. Yeah, what our once we go.
1 year.
Was anything now because can the family issue. When family they do, or going to get even our language area.
Mm.
Yeah, the sort of was a dunya.
Mm.
And I don't anybody I was.
Mm.
Good. Then you woman, Banet do this okay. Medwina, Kemena, the bigger than the other this year.
Mm.
If you ain't going to carry, yeah, say me and Western. Yeah, you have been going to if you don't know you did by one, maybe you do come. So, on my very your name, on here to tell my way, woman, it's a mureo. And I know, oh, my wet or you went tenant, or the key, or your work at the back of it. In that time, I said, no, I'm near way, and year do no, so I was in my school now because you might be boom, because much like you would try, you will and I would generate, we're going my problem. Because you get the guy we are like a schooner carry more pakuta, yeah, why check a boy coming. A kitchen of the next year. Because who are the kids who there a year do? Year go and even can do it. You do my year, but I know where to let you know. Here, could buy most positions here, fear, imagine allow. No, we a government cannot finance. Economy, I give my little winner. How we are doing?
Hello?
How we are doing?
How much did they say it is?
That's about no why now. Oh, I feel your oh, I for your mama, you know. Here, why, and if you have your young. What's the one name?
What did they do?
You are good to go. There was a son of your door, which I was saying.
What happened to the girl?
I'll tell you. So, I take it very in and I carry your habit attachment. Why are attacking me? Because I won't go attacking me. Married Maya, begging because of it, and Maya will
I think
so
help me price it with him. Price it with him. I didn't
miss interested in the bay. On way to Nerano, yeah, interest. 1 year, no, chatty working, no, when I have the say, yeah, away. And the parents see manner. Other parents see manner. I said, I didn't school, yeah, my yeah, maybe we are. Yeah, was we are. So we trusting I allow any melon. Because we came away from one way now, I do we any trust in the wall now. Oh, yeah, we interested in your hat and number one cat and we go on that now. We had the banya, we had the so in Naya when we are the attractive. I turn a Maya Banina. If you do run, you only see woman carry the bear. Because when I saw like a domosa because a woman around will give anyone why save your bear.
No.
That's what I prefer. It must almost say
maybe one can never ban it.
Understand?
Yes.
So when we are going to meet these things in the God, these are the challenges and the things that we need to look into in order for us to achieve our goals as the belief. This is just my little submission.
Oh, what's it? Prove it, approve it. Anyway, okay.
I think I have a small solution to one of the issues that Benin Race and oil. We catch them young. But again, money, you get to know when other person giving it the mindset in man, oil, mama on the maroon dying. We have an human mindset for independence, yes, freedom to do anything you want. So I can swim.
Two ideas that I have shared. One is a conference. Conference is a settings where people come together and discuss about the long-term plans that they have or the short-term plans that they have, depending on the reason why they want to come together. Conference is usually you just talk. It's not more of an actualization. And after the conference, after speaking, how do I exchange the idea? After ideas have been exchanged, You now begin to create a communique. We create a communique at which na lele na ya ensure abi mi no buni na talo ni adomwese. But that is just a conference. The conference will be organized by my company. But the conference will showcase something that outlives everybody, which is the Benin Trust Fund. The Benin Trust Fund is just an idea of Izoduwa, but it is not, Izoduwa will not be part of Kickstarter. The sustainability is not anchored on what I have said since. Representative for each local government, we have one representative and constitute a board. A board in need or how oversee Benin Trust Fund. So the very day we are officially launching the Benin Trust Fund, because what Benin Trust Fund about launching it is to the principle behind it, how the idea came about, and the main idea operator, how you're going to download it on your phone, how you maneuverable. Probably they're going to be paying £1 or £2. All of those things would have been created. If you look at it, this is a sample. I'll just show you guys around. I'm about the only person that has it now. This I'm opening the web version. So this you can't have access to it. Okay. If you can pass it around, you can pass it around. It's just the function. So the my background is just the web version. So once all of these things have been put in place, when you know Goma, once all of these things have been put in place and officially launched, that committee will also be constituted. All right. Once the committee is constituted, every single thing I have about the Benin Trust Fund will be handed over to them. Do you understand? From there, almost one constitution. Then I nominate should a committee member Maya or Donna resign, the local government must replace its own delegates, like that. So the committee oversees the trust fund, which is the most important thing that will be launched during the Benin Investors Conference. Like I said, during the Benin Investors Conference, it's just to talk. It's just a means for us to bring our ideas together, talk, interact. I think, yeah, okay. Talk and interact. I'm just showing you the platform. It's more complex. It's a web, whatever. So, it's not online. It's just only me that have this page. So, the Benin Investors Conference is just a conference where we are going to officially launch the Benin Trust Funds. It will be a conference where we are also going to launch Benin School of Mentorship. All right. It is also an avenue for us to launch what we call the Benin Film Enterprise. The Benin Film Enterprise is that part of the thing is that we're going to be presenting a 3D imagery of Benin Film Village. Because at the end of the day, part of what the conference is going to achieve is that I have in Film Village, because that Film Village, we're going to also bring Benin investors to invest in the Benin Film Enterprise, in the sense that if you have a storyline that is sellable, you have one investor that can bring $500,000, knowing fully well that you have $500,000 in that movie. Again, the movie near $1.5 million, or you got a profit of already we're not a movie, we're not a director and all that. So, but what have we achieved? People are making money from the what I would call it a patent idea, an idea that is peculiar to the Benin people, because we have so much stories to tell. We have so much history. So why can't we use that history to start raising revenue, to start raising people? When I mean raising revenue, it goes beyond raising revenue. You're going to raise revenue for the Benin people, and also we'll start training Benin people. Any Benin person who is into movie. We have quite a lot of Benin people in movie industry. All right. Outside having quite a lot of people, it also creates an avenue for these Benin to train more Benins in Nollywood. Like I have said, the Yorubas are Igbo are fall behind in Nollywood. The Yorubas now invest on a movie of one Yoruba movie it was in series, Seven Doors. 7 doors in Hawaii. The guy had to sell almost all his properties. I think the guy says he spent over $1.5 million to produce that movie. And in less than 3 months, the guy already started making profit. A Netflix in Akawa Doy. So, a movie now who I don't know what they 2 camera. Budget 3 million. You don't make money. How do I tell you? No. We have movies that can even contest for Oscars award. A story of Mari and Benata or a story of Yoba. Put that movie, invest so much money on that movie. Have Benin having a Benin film village where these movies are shot. You pay to come and shoot this movie. There will be a committee of councils that take care of the Benin film village. So we're going to visually ask. The conference is also talk about the ideas that a lot of investors, like I said, is not the conference will be Iriado and Iriado no Yonghuen that you and I don't know. Do you understand? There are so many Benin people. Most Benin people who are wedding Iriado. So the conference is an avenue to bring them to say the idea now. This idea is a multi-million spinning venture. Instead of you giving it to one Yoruba person to go and produce movie, Jaya produce a movie because the industry, we are setting up the industry, we are putting up pieces of those who are progressive minded will come. See, with this unity and peace is when. Do you know how many progressive minded Benin people that called me that said, I think I'm go. Yeah, I'm more adetana. Oh, but believe. Why can I can wa?
For real now. Oh, you know.
Okay, there is a round up. So the essence of this, like I said, it's a media brief, so that we understand that a big thing has come to stay. Is revolutionary thought that we should start thinking on how we can start building a socio-economic pathway, and in our respective behind our keyboards while we are typing, we should make Benin people understand that something big is coming, and that something is called Benin Investors Conference. It's going to create an opportunity where Benins can network amongst themselves, create business opportunities for them to bond, and now begin to see how we can progressively find a way to take Benin out of take Benin where it should be. Benin were able to fight those wars because they had money to fund it. So Benin was built as a wealthy kingdom and empire. So you go near Ado there, with your Benin. And then why Wadomo.